you do it. It's
We're
better.
there is no normal though because it's been so long.
True. It's been like I looked. I think it's been 4 months since we last did a podcast together,
That's
and even
right.
then, like for the whole year, it's not been like super regular
Yeah.
that we've
So
been doing it.
no. So people who don't know, this podcast started out as just being Chris Light and Gwen Frey talking back in the day. That
Yeah, like
was
if you got super into the interviews, they probably went back and was like, "Let's listen to the old stuff." I'm like, "Why is this guy on it over and over again, and he doesn't know anything?"
those were fun though. That's how this all got started.
Mm,
And then you left us. So Chris Light, what's been going on? Your life got hella busy. You had less time for the
yeah.
podcast because you moved to America to work at Meow Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
Now you're back in the UK, so let's catch
Mm-hmm.
up. What
Yeah.
happened?
So a lot. I was working at Meow for like a year, working in the then entertainment division, MWE, as we all called it internally. And I was a live stream producer. So if you ever saw a live stream from Meow Wolf, chances are this dude was behind the computer trying to trying to wrangle everything into one box and make it all work, which sometimes could be fun and interesting. But yeah, that was me for a while. And then scratch forward like 11 months, they laid off basically everyone in the division I was in, except like about 5 people or something. I don't know. But like we all got laid off. The whole division was like kind of gutted. And then I had to kind of emergency move back home, which sucked and cost
So,
a lot of money.
so
And
you've been downplaying this a lot because I was watching this as it went down, and you gave up everything, moved to America. Your wife couldn't work
mm,
while you were out there because of how things work in America. You
yes,
took this job. It didn't pay you super well. You worked there for a while, got laid off, and then had to go back to the UK with like nothing.
yeah, that's kind of essentially. They paid me reasonably well. It was just
Okay.
my situation and the fact that my wife couldn't work. That if I'm going to be fair to them, I
Yeah.
it was if it was just me and I was a happy single guy with no debts. Like if I was like 21, this would have been amazing. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, but sadly I was not. And yeah, so it was like gave up everything. So I chucked away so much stuff to like move out there, and then had to do that all over again. Uh, so now I'm living with parents, which is the dream of all 33-year-olds, and which is good. It's good. Don't get me wrong. The options of what else it would have been are like incredibly worse. So
Yeah.
I'm not complaining at all. But yeah, now I'm just like in a debt hole. That fortunately I now the one of the main good things about it is it was literally like a month and 3 weeks that I didn't have a job, and those were like a horrible month and three
And
weeks
now you have a
of
job
like
again out in the UK.
yes. Yeah, I work for XSplit full time now. A company I'd always kind of worked with freelance, like doing stuff, and had always had. I was still working with them actually while I was in America, just doing like part time bits, like representing them at events and like doing little bits of copywriting and stuff. But yeah, now I'm the communications and content editor for XSplit, which is really cool. And yeah, so I'm working again, which means I can slowly begin the rebuilding process after all the debts are paid off, which
Yeah.
is fun. But yeah, it was a job that kind of it like well, I mean it was a full-time job, right? And it also kind of just took all my energy like mentally over time and became less and less fun for me, which meant I did not have the energy to like do anything. Like so when it came to the podcast, it'd be like the prospect of being interesting on a thing was like, yeah, that's not mentally going to be
It's
happening right
okay.
now.
I'm never interesting on these things. That was never the issue. But
Well, yeah, but I'm the interesting one, Gwen.
oh,
This
of
is
course I
where
forgot. Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta be there.
I had to find other interesting people. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
No.
glad you found Jason. Jason, the ones I've listened to.
Mohica.
I'm a big fan of Mahika. He's a good guy.
Yeah, Mohica's great. I love all of them. I want to
Oh
keep.
yeah,
I
same.
want you back too, but I want to keep in touch with those guys and keep bringing them on
Yeah,
because I want to see
they're
what their
good.
stories go. But the
Anyway,
do
yeah.
you
So
regret moving out there?
financially, I sure do.
Well, if you could send a message back in time, would you be like, "Don't do this"? What would you
I
do?
would. So I would probably say, don't take out like the large loan to buy stuff again. Don't do that. That's the main bit. I'd be like, don't do that bit because don't worry, you're not going to be there as long as you think. So
Mm.
don't worry about it. But no, because I think without all of that happening, I wouldn't have ended up. Uh, I wouldn't have ended up where I am now. I wouldn't have ended up like having to be a bit more adult with myself that I do now, if that makes any sense. Like mass debt and kicking out of things certainly make you be like, oh, I gotta figure out what I'm doing like quick with life.
Yeah.
So that is good. 'Cause I don't know if that kick up the ass would have come quite as rapidly, but yeah, maybe I could have just explained that to myself rather than gone through everything I went through. So maybe not. I maybe would have not. I could have just read a book and been like, oh, grow up. Because that's the best thing I've got from it. So yeah, maybe not. Maybe I would not have. I mean, don't get me wrong. I actually met some really nice people. There's still some people that I would consider like close friends that I met out there that I wouldn't have met otherwise.
That
And
was like your first time having a proper 9 to 5 job. When I went out there, they were
mm,
pretty lackadaisical about like you don't actually have to show up at 9 o'clock and like you don't have to
no,
punch clock like you do in I don't know real jobs.
yeah, like I mean, I've done like retail, but this was like the first time I've done like a this is important to you and it should be important to you kind of 9 to 5 job.
Hmm.
So yeah, like retail, like you and nobody else except the manager most of the time like cares because you're like 20 and it's like I have no interest in this. But yeah, no, that was and yeah, I mean, it was definitely I don't even know as I particularly liked New Mexico. That was the other thing. I knew that going in though.
It
Like,
is so
so
Santa Fe is this glorious place if you're like old and retired. It's got more cafes and art galleries per capita than anywhere else, I think. Like it's this beautiful
yeah.
little art community. But if you're from London and you're like used to the big city life and you're moving out
Mm,
to New Mexico, which is the population is very low. Like that was a huge culture shock. Plus, you're going from the
yeah.
UK to America, which is like
Yeah.
gotta be something of a culture shock, I imagine, right?
Yeah. Like, I never thought I'd spend as much on health insurance as I did
Oh,
in
that's
my lifetime.
yeah,
Crazy. And the doctors are no better. Don't let anyone tell you it's better over there. That is a lie. The one doctor experience I had over there was awful. And I was like, this is, I now have to give you money. This is insane. But, yeah, it was definitely a big culture shock. I'm not like the sort of person that super like goes out and like does stuff or anything, so it wasn't like that was an issue. I think just like the climate and like the whole thing. Like I don't know if I was ever super sold on like the whole like Meow Wolf thing to begin with. Like I don't know. You could see how people can get super swept up in it because it's kind of an art collective of people, but it's really like a company, and that's what it is now. Like it has to be. It would be ridiculous if it wasn't. They've got like 500 employees at this stage,
yeah,
and they're building exhibits all over the country now. So of course it is. But
yeah.
like I don't know, it didn't super. You just if you just search like Meow Wolf in Google News, you can find out plenty more than I can
Yeah,
tell you.
it's like an art installation that you walk around. It's beautiful and interesting and fascinating and it's fun and it's
Mm.
super unique and difficult to put into words. But yeah, and showcasing that in streaming is was an interesting direction for them to try to take.
It is, and they're still doing it. They are like they're still going with Meowth Live. I thought that would be wrapping up, but it is not. If anything, I think they're now doing more of it than they were before they let me go, which is disappointing. But it's yeah, it's a whole thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't like the greatest time in my life ever. So
We don't have to
You
dwell on
know,
it if you don't want to.
nah, I guess I haven't really like because it's been 3 months since, so I don't know as I've even really like super processed everything.
Yeah.
Like just because there was so much time of like, oh god, I gotta get a job. Oh god, I gotta do this, and then like now I've got a job. It's probably the first time, but I'm still like building up towards a bunch of other stuff. So
Yeah. Are you gonna go back
yeah,
to going to shows and things again a lot now that you're a part of XSplit?
yes,
Nice.
yes, I'm going to PAX South actually
Oh, nice.
in January, which I'm super looking forward to because that is like I've always said if my job could be to just go to shows, that would be the best job in the world ever. So
Uh-huh.
that is my favorite thing. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sweet. All right. I'll start
Hmm.
seeing you at shows again. We'll start debriefing on shows again. It's been a while since we've talked
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
gonna be good. Yeah, it wasn't the best of times, but it's over. So good.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Yeah, that went
Yeah,
down. I forgot that was 3 months ago. It's crazy how time flies.
it's gone so quick,
It
right?
has, yeah.
Like, because obviously me and Gwen talk outside of being on a podcast,
No,
and yeah, no, never. Gwen doesn't want to, but like I just talk at
it
her.
just keeps
But
happening.
yeah, right here we are. And so yeah, you've kind of been along for the ride in a way, and
Mm.
it's definitely been a whirlwind. But I mean, it's so great because like one thing I want to talk about. I was excited to do this podcast, guys. There's just so much that's happened to you that I wanted to talk about, and
Uh,
like the last time I saw you was pre-Kine coming out,
mhm.
like PAX West, and the game's out now. Like
Yeah.
it's Stadia's out now. It's the whole thing, and I mean you've probably talked about it, but like how did it go? I don't know. It's been very
Huh.
me centric when we've had conversations.
Oh, well, it's hard to like, hmm. When somebody's going through something really hard, like you were, it's really hard to
Hmm.
be like, oh, my life kind of sucks right now too, but in a
Yeah,
lesser way, like, or
I did have a trump card. I
or
did.
the
It's kind of
opposite. Yeah, I know. And you can't also just be like, well, this fuck, I'm really excited, So we
I don't
could.
mind that one. It was always good though, like if you'd have anyone being like, "Oh, let me tell you how tough it is for me right now," and I'd be like, "Oh, really? Oh, it's tough for you right now, is it?" That was my mode for like a month.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. I know what it's like when I was laid off. Like I've been laid off before. It's
Mm.
the You can't relax. You always tell yourself you'll relax between jobs, but you can't. You need, even
No.
if you have money, there's just this constant like I remember just sleeping all day, and I would tell my flatmate at the time, I'd be like, wake me up when I have a job, like, and I just like the the rejection, the just
Oh,
constant
dude,
rejection,
that is the worst.
the never hearing anything back, the never quite sure why, you
God.
can't like, you don't want to be like the negative person in people's lives. There's no right way to
Yeah.
get through it. Like everyone's experience in this is different, but being laid off just totally blows. Um,
Mm.
yeah,
It's not fun. The rejection because I applied for like a ton of jobs, like obviously,
yeah,
and yeah, there was like you go through like some jobs you have like multiple interviews to like then not get the job.
yeah.
Like, and you're like, this one's gonna be it because like this is like the fifth interview now. Like, I must be doing great. Nah. So
Yikes.
yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah. So the
Yeah. Anyway, you
no,
and the video game.
it's fine. The I
Okay.
just
You're like,
like I
ah.
just sympathize really deeply. Yeah, no, kind of. I mean, I have talked about it on the podcast before it kind of came out.
I would think,
I had a
yeah.
debrief with like William Shear. It's weird. Like I have a notebook here where I wrote down like the things I was worried about before I launched,
Mm.
and then the things that people didn't like after I launched, and then like the way I felt about the game was the things I thought were wrong or bad about it completely changed after launch when I saw the people playing it. I was like, oh shit, actually, yeah. Or
Oh, none of that, mad.
yeah, no,
Oh,
like I'd have to
yeah.
go back and look at it. Like I think I can find just the things I thought were problems were not the
Mm.
problems basically.
Huh.
Uh,
I watched a few people play it on Twitch. Like on launch week, I kept like I would because I was freshly back in the UK like the day it came out, so I had
mhm.
plenty of time. So I was like, I was just trolling like Kine. I had it as a tab open, like, and I'd be googling it, like
Yeah.
refreshing the Google thing every day, see when the reviews came out, like stuff like that. I
Yeah, I
watched a few people
definitely.
stream it, and some people would like super get it. I think, in fact, I don't think I saw anyone not get it. I think if you were gonna play it and stream it, you got it, kind of a thing.
Yeah. I think there was I don't know, I've watched a bunch of streams. Like
Yeah,
some people just don't like it's a hard game at the end of the day.
yeah. I
Like
I'm not good at it. I
uh
bought it, and I'm not good at it.
so
Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Shipping is somewhat is like everyone will tell you. It feels really anticlimactic. You kind of build this thing up in your mind. You have really high hopes. You see what happens. Uh, Shipping isn't this like you hit the button and then you're done and it's all parties and rainbows and stuff. It just you just wake up the next day and you just go back to work and you just keep working. It's just different
mm,
work now. Um,
huh,
Mostly, some of it's bug fixing, problems with the storefront. I've got a lot of like opinions now about discoverability on the Switch. Like
yeah.
no one can find Kine. Like if you search for Kine on the Switch, what comes up first is Mario versus Rabbids and then nine other games and then Kine. Uh
Huh. I mean, that feels like a real like
they're
Mario
like
versus Rabbids. That doesn't sound like
I don't
it should
know.
be cropping up first for Kine in
Yeah.
one like
You would think it. Like I don't know. I've just got like massive pet peeves with certain things now. Like I've got
huh.
strong opinions about shit because I'm like search for the okay. As soon as it was no longer like the day it released, you know, things
Mm.
get buried pretty quickly. It was like yeah, just search for Kine, and then they're like we can't find it, and I went and I searched for Kine, and I'm like oh it's the 10th
That
thing on
makes
the
no
list.
sense.
So search for Kine, and then I guess scroll. Like yeah, so I would just get mad about certain things. But
Yeah, I did. I mean, that feels completely valid. That's really mind-boggling.
yeah, but I mean,
Huh.
so I would go through phases. I don't know, and then
Mm.
the launch on Stadia happened, and there's a lot of stuff I just can't talk about with regard to that. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, that happened with
Mm.
I had a bad interaction with the press with that,
I
and
saw that looked fun. That
yeah,
that yeah, that was a
I
shame.
pulled
I
damage.
saw that.
Yeah, like I went to Google and I'm like I didn't say this, and they were like we know, well, don't worry, it's okay. And then we were trying to like damage control the whole thing, but that was a
Oof.
nightmare. Um,
Yeah.
that happened, and then after that it was just a lot of trying to figure out what's coming next. A lot of decompressing and thinking about what I shipped and planning for the future and that sort of thing.
Mm.
And I did immediately, if you know, because you've watched a couple of my streams and we've talked about it, you know, I did pretty much immediately start working with another person, and that's been pretty start and stop. Like we tried to work together, kind of gave up. Now we're starting again. We decided to start trying to work together again 2 days ago. We're gonna see if it
Huh.
works. Um,
Is this the
a
was it
programmer,
Forex strategy game thing?
forex strategy game thing. I'm making a
The
tactics game. So
tactics, not Forex strategy. Tactics.
Jesus, it's like I'm not biting that off, Chris. That's a different. It's a whole
Yeah.
different thing.
Are you making a new Civ? Like, is that that'll be
No,
easy, right?
no, I'm not making Civ. Not making Civ.
No.
I did see. I was watching the Game Awards and I saw Humankind. There's
Humankind. What one
so
was
on the
that?
pre-show exactly. I've never heard of it, but I saw what
No.
looked like a trailer for Civilization, and I was like, "Oh, is Fair Access doing
Oh,
something?"
I did watch that.
And then I was like, "Wait, that's a completely different thing by a completely different
Yeah.
studio, but it looks, smells, and
Looks like Civ.
tastes exactly like Civ."
Mm.
Like to the point where they're like, "Yeah," they're describing it. Yeah, you start with this, and then you build districts, and I'm like, "Yeah, like in Civ,
You could just say Civ. Like
just
it's.
call."
I mean, can you legally not say Civ? Like,
I
why?
know,
Why are we not just saying
I know.
that?
I need to. I have. You just reminded me of it. I need to do more research into that game because I like got way
Yeah.
distracted during the Game Awards.
Oh, did you
So,
actually watch all of that thing?
oh yeah, I watched it. I was bored that day. I watched
I
the whole
was
thing.
other than last year where I watched it whilst streaming with two other people, like the co-stream thing, I've never watched that like all the way through.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I don't even want to. Like, I thought about it and I was like, it's not like I hate it. I just have no compulsion to see it. I'm just
Yeah,
like, I don't care about that.
I
And
watch
then
it. It's just in case my friends show a game they're working on, and I can be
that's
like,
true.
and I
That's
can be
true.
part of the
Devolver had a
oh
game. I
shit.
was happy for that.
Yeah, because you never know. Because the Game Awards now isn't really about the awards. Like I
Yeah.
kind of don't care if my friends get awards there. Like it's more to me, it's more about the trailers as always. Just to see,
Yeah.
oh shit, is this what you've been working on for 4 years? Oh my god, tell me all about it. Like,
Yeah.
and I got that kind of inside thing with that. So for me, it was kind of fun. There wasn't any
Nice.
of that though.
Anyway.
Not really.
Yeah, there was I mean there was the Xbox obviously. That
Mm.
was the whole thing. But
Series
other
X.
than that, yeah, that's so one day they'll just call it Xbox and it'll be fine and nobody will care.
No,
Like
but
it'll
then
just
they'll
go, it's the Xbox.
didn't
Done.
they do that with the first one? Isn't that the point?
Yeah, but like you could just do like an iPhone and just be like, it doesn't need a stupid thing on the end of it. Or just go with numbers. Like PlayStation's kind of nailed it where they're just like, it's a PlayStation 4,
Yeah.
the
So
fourth one.
put yourself
It's
in
boring,
Microsoft's.
but like,
I know. It's boring. That's not the problem. The problem is that Microsoft would have had to admit that they're one version behind. So you don't want people to go to the store and see a PlayStation 4
yeah,
and an Xbox 3. So
yeah,
there
true.
so there's a million things they could have done to get around this. But
Mm.
instead they've decided to I don't know. I don't know.
I remember at the time before the Xbox 360 came out, I remember that the prevalent thinking of those of us that were thinking about it was like it's gonna not be called an Xbox, it's gonna be called something else box or like just something else. Like it's gonna follow that like convention and be like because that was kind of with Sega consoles and Nintendo consoles. That's what they'd done. It had only been the PlayStation that just called it the same thing again and stuck a number on it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, well, it's going to be called something else, and then it wasn't. It was an Xbox 360, and then a One, and now a Series X, which is just, I think that's the worst name of all of the Xbox names.
Mm-hmm.
The One was pretty bad, but I guess you just got used to it in time, maybe.
I
But
don't know where they go next. Series X2.
yeah, like I don't. But it won't be. It'll be something else. It'll be like Xbox Salamander, or like it will be something completely
This is
different.
Microsoft does change direction. Like Microsoft Game Studios just changes direction all the
I
time.
wonder
Like
if there's
if you deal with them as a business, like some years they're like they want to put all their resources into making games for Mixer. And then like a year later, like, no, that
yeah,
money's gone. That was a huge mistake. We're putting all of our money into I don't know, whatever the fuck is the big thing now, Connect. Like they've
yeah.
always got some new initiative.
We're
So
just buying streamers now. That's our new
well, I
thing.
mean, I think at least like in the last couple of years, hmm, I have good and bad things to say about Microsoft. I think in the last couple of years they have at least they have not abandoned Mixer.
Oh
Like
God, no. They've far from abandoned Mixer. They fucking bought Ninja and Shroud
yeah.
and like they bought some of the biggest content creators that if you're in on the inside scuttlebutt, like Ninja had been on a bit of a downfall numbers wise anyway, so it was the right time, and they're offering them brilliant deals,
Mhm.
so it makes sense. But
Well,
it was a huge deal in the streaming world, all of those things. So
sure.
they're doing stuff.
Do you think they're moving people over to the Mixer ecosystem though? Do you think they're moving viewers over?
They're demonstrably not. Like
Yeah.
it's the numbers, like if you go and look at the numbers that Ninja and Shroud and people are pulling in, it's a fraction of what they were pulling in on Twitch. Like they're averaging 3 to 5 thousand when they were averaging 20 to 25 thousand
Yeah.
on Twitch. So it's
The problem
not
is I don't know.
conveyed.
They need to it's hard. It's hard to get people to move entirely from one platform to another. Like move
Yeah.
entirely off of because MySpace rose and then fell.
Mm.
Like, and if you're Microsoft, you need to make Twitch be the thing that rose and then fell before
Yeah.
Mixer, right? So how do you do that? Do you do it by buying the people? That's their current strategy. They tried trying to make a killer app, but I would argue, put in too many small bets for that rather than a lot of big ones. I don't
Twitch
know.
have very much been catching up with all the technology that Mixer had. So that isn't as much of an advantage. The way they seem to be positioning themselves now is bringing creators in and being more. They seem to be trying to position themselves as somewhere creators want to go,
Mm-hmm.
which sort of has worked with money,
You know, it
but like,
kind of parallels the Epic and Steam situation, where
yeah,
Steam is where all the players are.
huh, yeah,
Epic is throwing a lot of money. Epic developers
wow,
love working with Epic. They've always been really
yeah.
great to work with, and Epic's been throwing a lot of money at them.
And it's weird because I've had exactly the same conversations where I've said to people like, I remember looking at the numbers that Ninja and Shroud were getting after they announced another big streamer, Ewok, was going over to Mixer, and I was like, I'm gonna look at all these numbers and see what the fuck they're doing. I remember saying like, look at this. This is so much smaller. Like, this is crazy. And one of the responses was, yeah, but this is so much better for the streamers. Like, they got guaranteed money. They haven't
Yeah,
got to work themselves into the ground.
yeah.
Like, and I was like, wow, just as you said that, I was like, wow, that is exactly the same conversation where they're like, no, it's good for the creator.
You
Like,
know,
therefore good.
in all seriousness, I don't think Kind would have gotten way more people would be playing it on Steam, like versus
Hmm.
the Epic Store. I think not way more, but more people. There's just more
Hmm.
people on Steam, right? But it still wouldn't have been enough sales for me to be comfortable, and I'm really
Yeah.
comfortable right now. Like it
Huh.
just wouldn't have been. Kind was a niche game. It was a niche puzzle game. Like even if I had the number of sales I would have gotten on Steam, I would not have recouped Kind not for quite a while. No, I would not have recouped the amount of money I spent on Kind, and I wouldn't have had the freedom to spend the amount of money I spent on Kind if I didn't know I had that guaranteed money. Like I
Yeah.
know I can look at the amount of money Steven's sausage roll made, and I can say, okay, that's the top. Like I'm probably
That's where
not
I
going to
could
do
be.
better than
Yeah.
that's like the maximum I can make. Like and I just wouldn't have been able to invest in it. And Kind was the most fun I've ever had in my life. Was making that
Hmm.
game. Like I owe Epic huge. I don't talk like I don't go around saying nice things about them, you know. Well, it is because they paid me, but no,
You did before that. You were doing that
yeah,
before they were paying you. Like
like but what
I've
they've
got hours of audio where you're doing
I
that.
know, like I've always loved working with Epic. They've just always been
Mm.
amazing for developers, and I don't think people appreciate how much having that financial freedom to just make a thing, how fulfilling and amazing that is, you know.
Yeah.
And so
That
if that's a situation these streamers are having on Mixer, where it's like they were killing themselves for nothing, and I bet, yo, are people giving Mixer the same kind of shit they give Epic, where they're like, why aren't you supporting smaller streamers? Are they doing that, or are they just like, we get it?
no, Mixer are like, well, so here's the thing. Smaller streamers and discoverability is the biggest problem that streaming faces right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to a point where accessibility and software are cheap to free that anyone can do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's no issue to start streaming. The problem is to get anyone to watch you. And if Mixer have done arguably slightly more than Twitch have to remedy that problem, which is they have a section that is like, look at these 5 streamers that we've algorithmically said you should look at. I think Twitch have started copying that now, actually,
Mm-hmm.
but they've that's it though. Like,
The
and
thing
that is a
is,
big issue, and that is a thing that Mixer are apparently listening to. That's kind of their play at the moment. They're more transparent with their rules, which is a huge thing in the streaming community at the moment.
mm-hmm.
And they are also actively saying they're trying, but I don't
So
know what the solution to
I'm
that
gonna flip this
realistically
over
is.
using my experience in the games industry and say
Yes.
what would be said to you if you're in the games industry.
Mm.
Okay, so streamers want more visibility, but the people who watch streams don't give a shit, and we're
Mhm.
here for the customers.
It's true. The thing is, the well, maybe not. I was gonna say because there's. I guess I work in the industry where I want to talk to everyone that's trying to stream,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess this is a parallel. I guess maybe to indie games where it was like, oh wow, now anyone can do it because of tools. You can do it. Anyone can do it, and anyone is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more people trying to do it. So yeah, that is true. That is very true. Like, you
And
know what?
so
Like,
it comes down to what are you more concerned about? The small streamer or the customers, right?
yeah,
And at the end of the day,
yeah,
the platform doesn't exist because the small streamers support it. The small streamers actually want money. The people who are supporting the platform, the ones who are paying for the platform, are the ones that get the say.
That is very true. It's interesting because it's also a very influencer led medium. So like, and again, I don't know if I feel people are talking about this more because this is the industry I've kind of moved in, but like I feel like the discussion of discoverability, how rules are applied and everything are like the biggest conversations of everyone that's talking about streaming.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, like I imagine like the you go and watch like some of the biggest streamers on Twitch are generally pulling in 25 to 30,000 people at a time, like your Dr. Disrespect or your Tim the Tap Man. And are all those people worried about that? Probably not. They just come on to watch Dr. Disrespect and turn it off. Like that could be the thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it is really hard to say. It's also there's a lot of parallels I think here between being trying to make it as an indie streamer and try like a small streamer and trying to make it as an indie developer. Like I think there is a lot of parallels.
mm,
But I think there's also just something different in streaming specifically because it is so tied into politics in a weird way. Because it is so tied into censorship conversations and shit like that. And
mm,
because there is a giant global conversation right now about where people get their news and how you're getting your news from anywhere and anybody can say a thing on the internet. And now you've got people who are like nobody that are saying things on the internet, and it kind of pulls into that whole fucking meta conversation we're having about, you know, who has the right to news and that sort of thing.
mm.
Or who has the right to give news and where should you consume your media from and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
I mean, I'll
the
say as a game developer, right?
yes.
A thing you have right now is there's a lot of people who've never shipped a game before giving advice that is very bad on YouTube. Like or selling
Oh yeah. The
or
streaming thing is for that now as well. It's crazy. Anyway, carry
yeah,
on.
or selling like I've bought things off the Unreal Marketplace to check them out and I've been like this literally doesn't work. Like and I
Mm,
can fix it, but I'm like, wow, you literally shipped a thing with bad math and gave it to other people to use as a template? You're selling this? Like I've seen that, right?
yeah.
Because anybody can sell anything. And
Mm,
it does make me respect the need for something like GDC, a thing that curates that says, hey, these are the people that know what they're talking about. They may not be the most popular, uh, because they you know they're not popular or pretty or whatever, but they've like the reason you don't know about them is because they spent 5 to 10 years making a thing for a video game rather than being famous on the internet. They don't
mm,
have big YouTube channels. What they say is important though because they're right. And that's the purpose of like a GDC, right? And I almost feel like maybe I'm going on a weird tangent here, but like the need for curation is a big thing, I think, in YouTube and in specifically, I know I'm only thinking about this. The only times I look at YouTube is to like see how to do a thing for the most part. Like it's
mm.
pretty rare I'm browsing for entertainment purposes.
Really? I'm like the complete. I all 90% of my entertainment I would say is on YouTube now. Anyway, carry on.
No, that's cool. So like, do you use it like TV? You just wake up and like browse YouTube for stuff to watch?
Or like every night, like that's what I do. I have my subscriptions that I watch, but I always go through the recommended thing because it's all algorithmically tailored to me, and it's like, but what if Saruman was good? And I'm like, I don't know, and then I'm there like that. I have a good time, but yeah, I do watch all that kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, you were on a point, sorry, and it was
No, I
interesting.
wasn't.
Curation.
I was just going for it. But yeah, I, like
It was good.
I don't know. I think curation is something that at least I'm craving, and I think probably other people are craving, and I think that might be a solution for some of these things, like
Yeah.
for all of it. Like I think if a way Mixer could move, perhaps, or YouTube or anybody could move, is by having some method for curation. And you are seeing this on Steam, by the way. They did do a push for like one of
They
their many
did.
experiments was curators.
Yeah, the problem, like, and like, so Twitch and Mixer kind of, in that they have the front page.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go on it, there's 6 to 7 streamers that are like on the carousel, of this is the stuff that someone at Twitch has decided should be on the front page.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's that to get on that is a very difficult process, and how that's all done is and there's it's like I say, it's 6 or 7 people. There's no like with YouTube. When I go on YouTube, I just have this endless scroll of videos that are all algorithmically picked for me based on everything I've ever watched. And it's like, oh, you might like, because there's a similar kind of thing to on Twitch where it's like if I've watched someone play Euro Truck Simulator 2, it will throw at me, here are other people playing Euro Truck Simulator 2, but it's not granular enough. Like I don't know if this is, I don't know how you solve this, like if this is a tagging thing or something, but like the type of person you want to watch is very different from the specific game you want to watch,
Mm-hmm.
if you get me. So it's, yeah, curation would be good. It's just how and who and, but if a company could put some time and money into that, like in the same way that Apple started when they were doing the iTunes, they hired people that were like, this is the really cool journalist guy who knows all about the rock music. And he would curate everything that would go in that
Impressive.
page on the iTunes store. Like, I don't know if you invest in something like that, someone who's like, this person knows everything about people that like to chat about specific topics, and we get him and he goes through all the streamers and he finds the good ones.
Mm.
Like, I don't know,
We'll
but then
see.
it's just one person's taste. I don't know,
That's
but
true.
yeah,
I mean, there's I personally like the idea of the one person's taste thing. You do see like
same.
algorithmic stuff you see on Netflix that never really worked for me. I will say the deep dive system on Steam is the closest thing I've ever seen to like an algorithmic system for recommending things that I really like.
Huh,
It's
I don't
like
think I've seen that.
it's one of their Steam Labs experiments.
Hmm.
You put in a game and then it shows you like a grid of like a 3 by 3 grid of other games. Like here's games that are more popular that are similar. Here's
Yeah.
games that are highly rated but not popular, like hidden gems that are similar, and here's why they're similar to what you just put in. And like here's games that are just similar, right? Uh,
Hmm.
uh, Something about it. I've really found a lot of really cool little hidden gems through that. It's
Yeah, it
really
would be
great for like
interesting.
games research or just like I want a game like this, but not this right now. Like it's
Yeah.
perfect
Oh,
for that.
yeah. That's like I always live in that. I remember thinking that when I was playing a ton of Overwatch. I was like, I want to just play this, but I kind of have played this now, like
Yeah,
at like 150 hours in, like I've played it. Is this something that's basically going to scratch the same itch but different? But
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
wonder
Because
if
I
like
chew through games too quickly now. Like I like well, not that I don't want longer games. I prefer
mm,
shorter games that I can chew through. But
yeah,
like I love Steam Labs. I specifically Deep Dive. I really like Deep Dive.
I should check that out. I haven't really been on Steam for
Neither has Kine.
a
But
long. Oh, I was gonna say I haven't been on it for a long while, so I haven't looked. Uh, Yeah, I should do that. It would be interesting to see, and this is just me thinking off the top of my head, like if you could do like a playlist, but like for streamers. That's an interesting idea. I'm gonna ruminate on that as a
uh,
person that
you
could
know,
do something like that.
I was gonna say you work for XSplit. You can make these things happen now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a conversation that like because the conversations you're having internally at a company that does streaming software is what's next. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. Like you look at where you are now and you're like, or at least this is what I'm internally finding interesting, whether anyone in the company cares or not. I'll still message my manager and be like, hey, I just thought of this. Like, and he's like, well, let me tell you all the reasons that this idea is not workable but interesting. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay. But like you want, I'm trying to think of like what are the problems, how do you solve them, and where's everything going in like the
yeah.
next 2 to 3 years, like what do you see this being?
I've definitely
So yeah.
been I've been schooled on this a lot, and the reason it comes up is because for a while, obviously there's the Mixer initiatives, and for a while there was just a lot of stuff in games where it's like streamers are more successful when they interact with their audience. Gamers are all about game developers are all about making interactive experiences. Surely
Mm.
something is here, and I do see Generally not. Like
Yeah.
generally people watch a streamer play video games because they want to hear the streamer's personality. They don't necessarily is streaming a really great platform for selling games? Kind of. It gets the brand out there, but does it actually ship units? It's hard to say. Like all the stuff Epic does with the creator program is interesting to me because what they're
Mm.
trying to do is they're saying, okay, you like this streamer. If you buy this game from this streamer, the streamer will get a cut. Isn't that
Yeah.
wonderful? But the thing is, no streamer wants to give their audience a reason to stop watching the stream and to go play something, right? So the
There is that.
and for the most part, streamers, it might work for Fortnite where you're watching like you're a person that plays Fortnite, you watch your favorite streamer play Fortnite, you want to buy a I don't know, some pants for your Fortnite character, you might as well give 10% tip to your streamer, right?
Yeah.
Like it makes sense for like an ongoing game like that, but I don't know if it makes sense for smaller indie games. I'm not sure. Like at
No,
first I was super
I
bullish on it, now I'm not.
I agree. I mean, with the way it seemed, I would agree, and I believe we've had these conversations. I'm like, yeah, that's the way it's going to be, and it doesn't seem to be
Yeah.
the way it's going to be, and it also doesn't seem to be the way anyone wants it to be. Like, there doesn't seem to be this clamor for it, and like, not many. There are streamers that are big that play indie games. I was about to say not many do,
Yeah.
but the top tier maybe don't so much. But like there are a lot that do play indie games. But I've also seen indie developers like tweet like I forget who now. Someone mentioned that their game was in a YouTube video and showed like the percentage of everything that had gone up after that, like after a week, and it was like imperceptibly nothing sort of
Yeah.
amounts where they were like, I was on this giant YouTuber and not a lot happened. Like I didn't sell lots of games all of
Yeah.
a sudden. It looked kind of like it would do if it hadn't happened. Like so it's tough to say. I don't know what that intersection is. Yeah, indie games and streamers, I'm not sure there is like a money making opportunity there. There might be,
It's hard to
but
say. Well, I mean, a lot of the conversations in AAA are definitely about hooking streamers and getting streamers to play your game and,
hmm,
getting eyeballs. There's just a certain amount of piercing the zeitgeist, especially if you're a bigger game.
I
But,
guess Fortnite is just the it's the thing everyone's thinking about. I've
oh
heard
my
that
God.
word thrown around in companies I should never have heard it thrown around in. And it's
Fortnite?
like, yeah, it's like we
Oh,
should Fortnite. We should do. What about Fortnite? And it's like,
no, it's
don't just
amazing. If
say
you,
things.
dude, I love,
Like,
did you see the giant Star Wars reveal within the Fortnite universe?
no, because I was trying to. I don't want to see too much, but I fucking loved it. Do you know what? Do you know what I did? When in the first month when I didn't have a job, I played like 30 hours of Fortnite. They did the season 2 thing, or the season 10 even, sorry, where
Huh.
they destroyed the world, and it was the coolest thing I've seen in a long time. Like I was so into it. Like I'd check in and be like, "Oh shit, nothing's happened still. What's gonna happen? This is so good." And I
Yeah.
was so like I'd never really played the game before, but I was just like, this is the best marketing. And then they put bots in the game, which I don't think they've actually said they've done, but they definitely have. And I
Yeah.
can play it now. And I was running around getting kills, and I had time to start to learn how to do all the crazy upward spiral
Sick.
building. And
I
I played like 30 hours of it, and I haven't played it since, but like I was like, I get it. I get it now.
see.
This game is good.
I haven't been following it as closely as I should have, but what I love about it is the stuff we used to get back in the day. It's bringing people together at a specific moment. It's
Yes.
this is something where it sets off your FOMO, right? It's like, oh, the only time I can watch this happen
Mm,
is if I'm watching it when everybody else watches it on Saturday at 2 o'clock, and
it's the best.
that's something we don't have in society anymore, right? That's why the kids fucking love it. It's because it used to
Mm,
be if you wanted to watch a TV show, you had to get home in time, park your ass in front of the TV when your favorite TV show was on. Whereas now everything you can watch it. I don't
yeah,
catch it
whenever
now.
you
I'll
like.
catch it later. It's fine. This is the
Yeah.
one. This is one of the few things in the world today which is like, no, you're there or you're not, and you have no
Oh,
excuse not to
dude.
be there. You can just turn on your computer.
Yeah,
So
that whole where they ended the world,
yeah,
like I had no conception that that was coming. And I like follow video game news. Like again, I wasn't following Fortnite, but like I literally clicked on and it was like I just saw like the tweets and people were like, something's fucking happening in Fortnite. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? And like I literally just went on Twitch, top streamer, all the streams showing the same thing. It's like shit's happening. And I was like, okay. So I clicked on it and
It
I was
crashed
just
their.
watching.
So many
Yeah, yeah,
people watched that it crashed their store.
yeah.
I was not
It
even
was
mad. I was
Twitch
excited.
broke.
I,
Like legit Twitch broke. Like for like a hot minute it didn't work anymore.
that's
And
fucking insane.
there was millions of people watching like nothing for a little while and it was like it was so cool like because I was watching it I was like huh what is happening and I watched the rocket thing all the sky crack and like the rockets coming out and everything blow up and then everyone got sucked into a black hole and it was like and I was reading like because I was watching the live feed of tweets and chat and it was like yeah you can't log into the game right now it just does that like that's all it is it's just a black hole and there's
Yeah.
nothing else and that was a few days like
Yeah.
that game was just down and it was like this is the best thing that has happened in video games for a long while, in my opinion. Just because
No,
I didn't expect it and I didn't know what was going to happen, and it was
dude,
so cool.
they pulled off world events in a bigger way than World of Warcraft, EverQuest ever did. Like
Yeah,
this is the MMO. This is the MMO we've needed. Like I'm impressed. Like I had no idea this was going to become what it became.
no, and
This is
like
insane.
I was really dialed in on that, and like I'd have my phone and I'd just be like looking at it, like
I mean,
something could happen any minute. I don't
fucking
know.
Disney announces their next Star Wars movie inside of Fortnite, like with
Dude,
a bunch of special handouts to the, and at the end, everybody in Fortnite gets lightsabers and goes at it. That is the most brilliant fucking marketing I've ever seen.
there's so much. Like, here's the other thing. Like, I used to try and play that game before they put like bots in it, and everyone was so good you couldn't play it and you couldn't really learn because you'd get it was like Call of Duty when you used to play that on like Modern Warfare on the 360. You'd try and play it and it'd be like everyone's too good. I don't even get time to learn like
Yeah,
and the system to get in and out would take so long. But they've done two things, bots, and they've also done like a get back into the game faster thing that just makes the whole process of getting back into another game so much quicker. And like I said, I played 30 hours of the thing now. I was like, these are the two things it needed to make it perfect for me. And yeah, it's a really good game. That's the other thing about it. Like it's plays really well. It's really nicely balanced, except for the odd little things that come up,
yeah,
which are going to happen all the time in live competitive games. But yeah, it's great. And yeah, that end the world thing was so good. It was so
man.
exciting.
Do you remember a year ago? When we were talking about the future and stuff? We were talking about streaming and
Mm.
what would come up. I have to admit, I never thought at any given moment. I always thought Fortnite had peaked.
Oh yeah, it always felt like it.
I was
You'd
like,
always be
well,
like,
this is big now, but let's talk about the future.
yeah,
Like, never would I have imagined it would be just bigger, more Fortnite. Like,
yeah.
but without a doubt, like, that is the biggest thing in the industry right now. It's bigger
It,
than the conversation about Stadia or any
yeah.
streaming service. Like, I don't think we talk about enough the fact that fucking Star Wars announces their next game inside of Fortnite because that is the platform to reach the most people.
Yeah,
That is
easily.
insane.
Yeah, it's like and it's not even just like the biggest game. Like I said, it's still one of like the world's biggest things. Like
Yeah.
it's still like the thing that that all the kids are playing and talking about
Hmm.
still.
It's where
Which
they meet their friends because, of course, because if you're a kid today, good God, like everything you
right?
put everything you put on the internet is there forever. Do you want your
Uh,
6-year old thoughts to be on the internet? Like when people are Googling you for your next job, they're going to find what your kid said at 6 years old on the internet. And if you're a kid, you're growing up in that environment. And here's this thing that's like, it's a chat. I'm hanging out with my friends in a virtual world. None of this is recorded. Like, there's just so many small things. Everything that happens here happens in that moment, and then it's over. And if you miss it, then you missed it. Like, it's captured something that we've lost as a society. It is a silly way to say, but it's
yeah.
kind of true.
I,
Uh,
dude, it's super true, and especially as you normally get like you say, you got to play that thing where you ran around with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
It's not even like you can just watch the YouTube video of it. It's like, no, I was there and we did a thing and you
Yeah.
didn't get to do it because you wasn't there. Like,
Yeah.
that's really rare.
Oh
Even like
god.
a concert now, you can just watch, like, I can just, if a band's touring, it's not the same, but like, I could just go and watch them like literally the next day on YouTube, like the entire concert. And I'm like, oh,
Oh
cool.
god.
That was
Soon you'll
good.
be able to watch it in VR.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, yeah, Fortnite's incredible. But like, speaking of which, like, a whole Xbox was announced and no one was as excited as like 2 minutes of Star Wars in
Uh,
Fortnite. Like, it's crazy.
it's true, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's interesting. The timing of the announcement of the Xbox is interesting, though. It's hard.
Hmm.
Was this an announced? They already announced that they were working on it. What they announced was the name and the form factor.
Yeah,
Um,
they'd said we're making it. It's called Project Scarlet. These are all the specs. It's got a Halo on it. More soon. But I've this is the first time that
they
I
said
mean I expected at E3 to see
yeah.
what the console looked like.
It's curious they decided to beat Sony. It's curious that they turned it into a race to come out faster with news.
Yeah, I mean they had a PS5 game, like that Gearbox game that
Mhm.
looked like a Gearbox game that I was like, huh.
The typical move is not to announce before the holidays because you want people to be buying the current stuff for Christmas.
Normally. Yeah.
Whereas if you announce before the holidays, then people will be like, "Ooh, I'm not gonna buy this because I'm waiting for the next console." The only reason to announce early would be to be, by the way, it's multi-platform. Make sure you go get your current games. But they didn't really drill on that a lot, so I'm
They
not
didn't.
sure
And like
what their
also
plan
the
is.
one thing I found interesting was that this I wonder if they're gonna have like a because I was working in retail like games retail when the Wii U was launched
Ooh,
and I like yeah that was a whole so what is it like a controller for the Wii and I'm like no it's a whole new console and they're like what where's the box why are they only showing off the thing I'm like well the box is actually in the demo stand it's just kind of down there and they're like so can I buy no is it a tablet no like like a
yeah.
whole thing but my
Or just
wife
the people who bought Wii games for their kids but bought it for the wrong thing. They bought the Wii when it was like the Wii
yeah
U and shit. Like,
the
what a
Wii
nightmare.
U was
That was a shit show.
sad. Yeah, it was. I had one. It was had good games, but
No, the
like
Series X is gonna have the same fucking problems though. People are gonna
this is what I was gonna say. My
parents are
wife
gonna
literally said,
mm,
"So is this just like another Xbox One?" And I was like, "No, that's the new console." And she's like, "But it looks because I've got like the Xbox One X." And she's like, "It looks like the same as that, except now it's like a brick." And and I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "And it's called the Series X. That doesn't sound like it's the new machine." And I was like, "I guess not." Like I don't know if that will be a problem by the time it comes out, but that initial thing of like it looks similar and it has a weird name, like I don't
people
know.
are gonna go to GameStop and say my kid has the Xbox One X, the Xbox X, and then they're gonna
Yeah.
get the game for the wrong thing, and then they're gonna return the game. This is just gonna be
Well,
that all over again.
the only thing they said is that it's gonna play everything. Like
True.
all of this, even the controllers are gonna work. Like if your Xbox One controllers are gonna work on the Xbox One, the oh no, the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
It's an unwieldy name, and it looks kind of odd. Like it's. I know they said you can put it like
On the
horizontal.
side, well, I mean, when they demoed that one doesn't bother me so much because when they first showed off the PlayStation, they showed it
Yeah.
standing, and I nobody puts it standing, so I don't. I believe it'll turn.
Yeah, no, they've said it. They've said it does. Like it will sit down. It's just a kind of weird looking thing. But it's I wonder if there's going to be like Xbox Series something because I'm still of the mindset that they're going to go full X Cloud and like you're going to get like a Toshiba Xbox like or like a Xbox app on your television that just plays it and it's just like this hardware you don't need it but it's just
Oh,
makes streaming a little easier I guess
I suspect we're a ways out from that. I've
infrastructurally I guess we've talked about this before but yeah.
yeah, I just don't think they're uh, the Microsoft Play is mostly that you can install. There is something to be said that's really interesting about not having
Hmm.
to install a game, about being able to stream it while it installs in the background and then play it.
That
That's
was the
kind of
dream of
nice.
the Xbox One that never like super came true because like you can kind of I found it will say ready to play, and then you go to click on it, the menu opens up, and it's like, well, you can't really do anything yet, but you want to chill in this menu, and I'm like,
No.
no,
Well, with streaming, it'll be more possible.
yeah,
And that stuff is like, I've done some competitive analysis in the streaming, and I think the as far as streaming goes, I think Stadia does have a really solid performance, and I think I haven't experimented much with xCloud, so I shouldn't say much. We'll see. I think, but I don't think that's their focus. If you read what they're saying, I think their focus is definitely to have a console first experience and have streaming be like this kind of feature that they're slowly rolling into, which is
mm,
very intelligent as the internet it positions them so that they're using it to ease certain experiences that traditional console gamers already have. Things like you can play the game immediately while it streams in the background, or hey, if you're on vacation, you can stream. It won't be as good as playing it locally, but you have an option. Things like
yeah,
that, and they're careful about
oh,
which games they're going to allow on it. It's not going to be every game immediately, because not all games are really good for streaming. Is in Microsoft's opinion, they've got a lot of they're pushing. I've been reading up on what they're doing, from what they've said publicly and stuff, and I think they're pretty clear that they're taking a kind of slower approach rather than jumping in the deep end
mm,
with both feet like Stadia is. Like, no, this is a streaming platform. It I don't know though. We'll see. We'll see what happens the next year. It's gonna be a
yeah.
good
It'll be
year.
interesting to see what Sony's play is as well. Like, what the PlayStation 5 is. It still going to be the PS4 style thing where their focus was really like the box with the good games. Like that was really their thing, and they definitely nailed it with the PlayStation 4. And I wonder if they
Yes.
continue down that route with the PlayStation 5.
Well, I suspect we'll see some exclusives. I mean, we've got no reason to think they wouldn't have a
Oh yeah,
bunch
exclusive still. I
the
just
usual
yeah
studios. Yeah.
wonder if they still go for the whole like no streaming, only discs. Like if that's
Well, I
their
don't know why. I mean, they're actually at the forefront of streaming technically.
oh yeah, they have actually. They've had PlayStation Now for ages.
Yeah,
Doesn't that
like
apparently work like really well?
yeah, I like nobody ever talks about it, but
No.
they're actually the most successful streaming platform for video games right now. So that's why I'm a little
Huh.
confused. Yeah, PlayStation Now has been doing very well. People tend to really like it that use it.
Yeah. I've actually, the minute I said that, it was like, oh, I remember hearing from someone. I remember that thing launching years and years ago
Yeah,
and just thinking, like, huh, oh, cool. You can just do an app on your TV and just connect your PS3 controller to your TV. That's interesting. And, like, it's still going. And people are telling me it's real. Like, someone told me, like, not too long ago, they were, oh, I was using PlayStation Now. It was really good. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot that was a thing. I think because it had PS3 games and the PS4 was just soon coming out or just come out or something, that I was like,
yeah.
whatever.
It's like this
Old
isn't
games.
backwards compatible, but if you want to play your old games, you can play through this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
I don't
Eh.
know. Like I wouldn't write them out on that one. I have no idea what they're doing though, and I think it's about time to wrap up the podcast. I know we're
Yes, I
exuberant.
agree.
It's been great chatting with you, Chris Light. Thanks for talking about the future with me.
Hey, no problem, Gwen. Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's good to have you back. This has been Gwen Frey and Chris Light, and you've been in the Dialogue Box. All right, we'll cut it there.
Nice. Are we still
Yeah, we're still on Twitch.
Hi Twitch.
Hi,
How you
Twitch.
doing? Someone was asking questions. Like also partly atomic has says you need some premium signage. You do need premium signage.
Mm,
Why'd you not get some premium signage?
I don't know. Oh,
Subtle
please wrap it
signage.
up. I started doing this at one point. I'm like, we should wrap it up, but you were talking and you weren't looking.
Oh,
So,
I can't see you. Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
I had the thing paused, so I couldn't see you. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, we should have wrapped that up. It's the wrap up sign from the Game Awards. Oh yeah, you got those are important. You need to. I've been a presenter on stages. If no one's telling you that, it's like you just look like a fool. It looks really harsh, but for the presenter, they're like super useful.
Yeah. You have to, I don't know what I thought. Like, I used to think people, like, for the Oscars, you plan out what you're going to say ahead of time and
Mm.
shit. For a lot of these shows, you just kind of show up, you sit in the audience, then they call your name, you're like, oh, when you get up on stage, you're actually like, right. Um, Thank
Uh,
you. Uh, uh, this is cool. I appreciate this greatly. Like, it is just super weird.
yeah.
In the moment, it's just so awkward. Especially because you've
Oh,
probably been. Yeah.
I was just gonna say if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat while we're here for the next like little few minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't watch the Game Awards, and I just watched the trailers. Like I woke up the next because it's on at like 4 in the morning now for me again because I'm in
Mm.
the UK now, and yeah, I was just like I woke up and I was just like I could just watch like all the trailers and be good. Like what even won Game of the Year? I don't remember.
Disco Elysium won a bunch of them, which made me
It
happy
did.
because I fucking love that game. The one that won was Sekiro, something, Shadows Die Twice.
Oh, that got Game of the Year?
I don't. It won's one of the biggest ones, I think.
Yeah. Hideo Kojima probably got a special cuddle of his mate and like a little hey. And they had a laugh.
No, they only yeah. The Disco Elysium, they let them go on stage twice, but they won 4 awards. They just were like, we're not going to show you 4 times. They basically, I think they gave them a heads up ahead of time. They're like, look, you've won a number of awards, but we're gonna let you accept 2 of them, and then that's it. And then they like it was in the text on the side, and the announcer was like, Disco Elysium also won this award, and
They
this
do that at the
award.
Oscars, right? Like they
Yeah.
don't show everything. They're just like you'd be here for 500 hours if we did this for everything.
Well,
So
there's that, and there's also just how many times you're gonna let the same people go up and be grateful, because after a while that gets awkward even for you. Like, oh, this is my 5th time up here. Well, I've already thanked my mom, thanked Jesus. I guess thank that guy. That guy, he was cool. Couldn't have done it without stranger in row number 3. Thank you, stranger in row number 3. Goodbye. And then they bring you up there again. Like, oh fuck.
this one's for Jay Real in the sky. Like, I'm thinking about him every day. He's thinking about all of us
Yeah.
and the video games. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I've never there's like because there's the golden joysticks as well, and I've never like been
Mm.
like super bothered about that either for some reason. I don't know why I'm interested in awards for like every other medium, but the one I'm most invested in, I'm just like,
Oh, no,
who
I never
cares?
watched any of those things. I actually can't tell you what most of them are.
Do you know
Like,
what? I guess because we've already got Game of the Year lists. I look at those. I always look at
oh
those.
yeah,
I always want to see like a publication's Game of the Year. That does it for me.
honestly, fair enough.
Yeah, there you go. Answered that question for those who were worried.
We have this figured out. Oh, it's
Yeah.
Sunday.
Well, we could probably wrap this up unless people have got some questions.
Yeah, we could wrap this up. I'd be down with that. Chat. This is a chill one. There's not too many people here today.
Well, you're not bringing in the big stars. You gotta get back on that train.
Oh
I saw
shit.
like, I actually saw like, I think Manifold Garden was in like a few Game of the Years, which seemed like really deserved as for how fucking long he worked on that game.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
that
really.
sounded an insane story.
Yeah, I'm really proud of him. That's really awesome. Like, I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, I think he was on Polygon's like top games of the year, like not game of the year, but games of the year.
That's cool.
Oh, real Svein man has a question that says something about app stores and stuff, so it might be more for you.
Wait, when will these companies check that templates for objects and stores are actually functional or legit? Is there something set up for that I don't know about? For example, before an Android or iOS goes on those app stores, they are checked for viruses and functionality. Does Unreal do a similar process too? Um, so when you're on the Unity Asset Store or the Unreal Asset Store, um, hmm.
Yeah, because I remember you saying
I
people
mean,
could sell
a
like
thing can,
anything.
yeah, let me rephrase that. A thing can functionally work, but be written in a way that's gross, like really gross under the
Yeah.
hood. And if what you're selling is the code, then it's necessary for it to not be gross so that you can extend and expand upon it.
Hmm.
So, code without comments, shaders that are set up in a hilariously like a way that works, but you wouldn't ship because that takes way more processing power than is required. Like, why do you have 4 times as many instructions? Why did you just copy and paste this? You didn't need to do that. And that stuff is technically subjective. So there's really no way to say this is a good thing and this is a bad thing other than ratings, right? And so what you do is you go in and you just give them 1 star as a developer and you explain why. Uh, and you let ratings handle it. The stores, I don't know if this just goes down to how curated is your storefront, right? Like there are things that technically work on the Unity store and the Unreal Asset store and stuff that are just garbage under the hood, and you can tell usually by looking at how many stars the other developers have given it, like how it's rated. But because the Unreal Marketplace is a little bit younger, there's not as, in spite of, this is unusual. Like, if you look at number of teams, more people use the Unity Asset Store or use Unity than Unreal. If you look at the number of human beings working in a product, more people, especially people that are paid, have jobs working in the Unreal Engine compared to Unity, right? Because the teams that are using the Unreal Engine are much larger teams. And because Unreal tends to be used more by AAA and Unity tends to be used more by indies, you tend to get a situation where people in AAA often want to write a very specific thing for their game and therefore don't use the Unreal Marketplace is a fraction of the size of the Unity Asset Store because of this. It's just reality. Like there's just so much in the Unity Asset Store comparatively. And because there's so many more people in that ecosystem, more people making things and buying things, there's more ratings. There's fewer ratings than things in the Unreal Engine marketplace. But Unreal's a better engine. What are you going to do?
I thought that was interesting because you mentioned we were talking about that in terms of like useful things that you can get, and that did make me think that I have seen many a YouTube video about how to get good at streaming and how to be successful and be discovered, and then you go and watch the person's content and they're pulling in barely any viewers. Like they're doing really good on YouTube telling you how to be good at it, but like when you go and watch what they're doing, assumedly applying all of the things they're doing, it's not very good and they're not doing very well themselves, and you're like, your advice seems not good now.
Yeah. They're really good at giving advice about something you're bad at. This is a
Yeah.
thing. This is a real thing on the internet right now. The YouTube videos with the most views are not. There's no way to say this without being condescending. Well, shut up. Like,
Hey, this bit isn't recorded.
yeah, popularity on YouTube doesn't mean you're right. It just means you're popular on
No.
YouTube.
Yeah, like and there's definitely a big market for like productivity and tutorials and getting better at stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, there's been plenty of videos I've watched where it's people being like, "Let me tell you the real shit of how to get around discoverability," and it's like,
You know,
join me on my Twitch to see me doing shit later at the end, and like I'll go and watch it, and they're live, and it's like, oh, you have like 70 people watching you.
do you consider
That's
me a
not a lot.
do you consider me a pretty productive person? Like a person that gets a lot of stuff done?
Me?
Yeah, do you think I am? Just curious.
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Here's a tip from somebody who's reasonably productive. Don't waste your
Uh,
time reading books about productivity. This is something like that's always been a pet peeve of mine. Like if the time you're spending reading about how to focus on doing a thing is time you're wasting because you're not focused on doing the thing. And I just
mm,
found and I know like there's got to be an audience. Like maybe it's just me, and I don't want to give that advice because like maybe there are people out there that read this book on how to be more productive and how to get their minds in the right place and shit, and then they like are more productive. And maybe I've just never needed that book, but I feel like wow, reading that book's a real waste of time you could be using to be productive. Like I feel like this is some kind of weird catch-22 there that I've never quite wrapped
yeah.
my mind around.
Oh, also, Kirov099, I'd say 70 viewers on Twitch is a lot. I'd agree. 70 viewers on Twitch for like an average, like if I got 70 viewers on Twitch, like that'd be a crazy day. Like 70 is relatively a lot, but like when you are discussing how to be very successful on Twitch and how you are like the authority on how to be successful, like, and like when you can get to the level of people that pull in like 25 to 30,000, those are the people that have figured some shit out. Like those are the people that have like figured out how to get the big numbers, and it's like 70 isn't like,
Yeah.
it's good, don't get me wrong, and it's definitely probably someone that can sustain themselves as a side job doing Twitch, but it's not like,
For the most
yeah,
part,
like,
the people who are at the top of Twitch, like nobody else can go do what Doctor Disrespect does. He's already doing
no,
it,
yeah, exactly.
right?
That's
Like,
like,
there's something to be said for just trying things and being unique, and maybe you need a framework to start with before you can get there. Like, I don't think
yeah, there's a
the
lot.
the people who are really successful, I think, are successful because they're doing their own thing, and you can't follow in their footsteps exactly.
That's all very true. It's yeah, that is definitely not to say that 70 is a small number. That's actually quite a lot. If you do that, I'd say you're getting there. Like if you're in the hundreds, you're getting there. You're doing well. But
It's more people
I
that are
would not.
watching us, so
Yeah, way more people than watch anything I do. But like, it's also you don't present yourself. Well, you can. I don't know. Anyway, you know my point.
no, you know what you're feeling right now? It's like I feel a lot where it's like you can't be judgy because you
Yeah.
understand every side of it. Like you know the point, you know the
Mm.
counterpoint, you know all the sides of it. You have an opinion, but you feel like you have to play devil's advocate for your own opinion because you know that one well enough, and then you just feel bad even having an opinion at all. Like
Yeah.
you go through this mental exercise where you're like, I'm giving you, fuck it.
It's like you were just doing like if you could play both of those things side by side with
Yeah.
like me in a smaller window, like that's like
And
the
then you would
play by play of
crush
what's
other
going through my head.
yeah, you would take little Chris and you would just crush him. You'd be like, little Chris is gonna say this. Say it,
Yeah.
little Chris, so I can fucking tell you off. Like, yeah, no,
This person has no viewers. He is not successful. Don't listen to him in how to be successful.
yeah.
Anyway, side point. Uh,
That's
people.
true. Crimson, well, Crimson Piano, if you like build an audience about doing a thing, you have to keep doing that thing, right? Like, that's
It's
that's
true.
true in all art, though. Like, you can't build an audience. That's why actors are afraid of being typecast. That's why artists tend to keep within a certain kind of. Musicians try to stay within the same genre. Like you find your niche, and then you kind of once you build an audience, you have an audience that wants to see that. I think
Yeah.
I don't think any of us ever escape that.
No, and that, like I've mentioned Doctor Disrespect a few times because I mean, that's definitely got to be true for him. I mean, he's been doing that for about 12 years now. Like probably longer actually. He's been doing that character to like growing success, but like that is like the definition of like he plays battle royale games, he does that character. Like that's his thing and that's what people want. Like so I can see that.
Yeah. All right. Should we call it Chris?
Yes.
Chris
Yeah.
Light.
That's a good idea.
It has been fun. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody, while we record a podcast.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know.